in Irish Gaelic, there's a phrase, Cor Cromaach Igam Cúidi, which means balance in all things. And I really have rarely met people who exemplify that in the way that Tymn and Dakini do. And you know, through the whole spectrum of the time that I've known them, there is an amazing way that they weave that balance in through the beauty of motion and movement and sound, and bringing really in, you know, all these aspects of being able to find the balance point and knowing that it is something that we can't hold on to. Balance is not something we're meant to keep. It's meant to be something that we're always working at, and doing that through movement. Being stationary, being still, that can provide one sort of balance, and yet there is a freedom that comes with the movement. There is a centering and a grounding, and they just represent that so amazingly. And they each do that work within themselves, which is so special that they hold that, you know, as a team, as an agreement between them, and as individuals, because they're both. And it's so sweet, because each one of you is a massively special gift to all of us. And the gift that you share through what you do to help bring the world a little eye in the storm. So please welcome Tymn and Dakini.
Good morning.
Good morning. Wow. What an introduction. Thank you so much.
That's for you.
All right. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Back in 2010, when Tim and I were just moving to the area from Seattle, we were fortunate to meet the good people of Healing House.
Wow.
Hosting a number of community events right here in this room, this space.
Wow.
And that's when we had the pleasure of meeting Eileen and a number of other great people from your church. And when Tim and I met 10 years ago, in 2006, it became clear right away that we shared common paths. In fact, it took us about, I don't know, an hour to figure that out. Common path, about that. And we shared common paths of spiritual discovery and also community building and being in service. And it didn't take long before we started hosting our own ecstatic dances and song and chant circles, drum circles, and solstice gatherings right out of our home. And this soon led us to creating our own spiritual organization called DevaGnosis. And that was a foundation for our services to grow from. DevaGnosis, the word, is a combination of two words. Deva comes from Sanskrit, meaning heavenly, divine, shining one. And gnosis comes from the Greek word meaning knowledge from experience, especially experience of divinity or that which is beyond the five senses. We married these two words, bringing together Eastern and Western spiritual traditions, signifying our deeply held belief that all of nature is divine, and that we are each innately capable of experiencing God, Goddess, Spirit, oneness, unity, the great is. So today Tim is here to speak with you about spiritual embodiment practice, and then I'll speak a little bit on another topic too. So please welcome Tim.
Microphone.
Cool.
Yeah. And an iPad, which is really a unique thing. I'm going to put on my glasses. Check these out.
Or
orange.
They match Eileen's
All right,
gloves.
match Eileen today.
Orange glass.
So,
Oh.
good morning. It is such a pleasure to be speaking with you today. My name is Tim Urban, and I am a spiritual community organizer and a practitioner of what we call divine nature spirituality. Dakini and I are really super happy to be invited to do this, to be up here. I'm nervous as all get out. I'll probably ramble a little bit before I finally feel at ease. And I'll take these off 10 or 20 times and put it back on, and I'll probably poke myself in the eye. So, that'll be neat. So spiritual embodiment is what I want to talk about, and what that is. According to the dictionary, it says that embodiment gives concrete form to an abstract idea. That's interesting. Like the flag is the embodiment of a country, perhaps. Okay. But when we talk about spiritual embodiment as a practice, we are, of course, giving form to spiritual ideas, like you're doing here. And I keep being reminded, you know, as I sit here in this church, which is rare form for me, actually. I just don't sit still well, what can I say? But to sit still in a church, that this is a spiritual embodiment practice. You know, that we're coming together as a community, and we're making this choice to be in this space. You know, singing together, you know, inspiring one another and looking at each other. I think I got hugged by 4 new people as I came through the door. And they said, "Do you hug?" And I said, "Oh, yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I hug." Because that's a spiritual embodiment practice. You know, the love that we feel in our hearts, we're going to embody that together. So, that is a piece of it for us. So for us, spiritual embodiment means bringing those spiritual ideas into our bodies. Taking part in relationship building and relationship deepening activities can help us to embody these ideals. And, you know, what is a better way of having a deepening experience with someone but to touch hearts like that and to hold each other, right? So the very practice of saying the word love, I love you, to someone can be an embodiment practice. To speak our truth, to speak our love aloud to one another. There is a Hindu word that many of us know. We might not know that it's Hindu. It's the word namaste. And you hear this really commonly around California, and in our spiritual circles we look at each other and we say namaste. That's a Hindu word. You probably know that. It means I witness the divinity in you. In fact, the divinity in me witnesses the divinity in you, and I honor and celebrate that divinity that you are. Right? So, the very practice of saying this word when looking into the eyes of another person fundamentally deepens relationships. This is, of course, a spiritual embodiment practice, and you have just made real the idea of oneness and unity by taking part in that. So this can, of course, be done in many creative ways, but we like to keep things simple and stick with what works. You know, and if in our circles it is to say namaste to one another, then do that. But, you know, when it comes to embodying something, what makes a spiritual practice real? What makes a spiritual practice meaningful? You know, it's what is alive in you. It's your authentic signature. The way that you deliver that good in the world, you know, is so perfect. And that's what's going to charge it, you know. So, you know, I encourage you to go out on a limb and try something new. You know, if you haven't said namaste to someone else while looking them in the eyes, you know, give it a try, you know. Turn to them and just say namaste and know that you're saying, my light sees your light. You are a mirror of love for me.
Wow, beautiful. Shall we do that?
You wanna? Pick a partner. Look someone in the eyes right now and say the words namaste. Doesn't that feel good? It has been my experience that the best way to realize the spiritual truth is to live it and to do it. Janet inspires me all the time. Janet, I love how in the middle of church service you can say, hey, wait a second, I want to tell you that I love you, and you're going to stand up and you're going to do that. I want to celebrate Eileen right now, she says. And we just did it. You know, that's amazing. You know, you can listen to me speak about these things, and you can understand, and you can maybe feel inspired, hopefully, by that. But I believe that the pearl of spiritual truth and wisdom remains inside the shell of belief until we go out into the world and we put it in practice.
That's right.
Ooh, that's profound. Can you say that again?
Please.
I will try. That is, that the pearl of spiritual truth and wisdom remains inside the shell of belief until we go out into the world and put it into practice.
Beautiful. Wow.
This is the unsung gift of duality. We get to experience with our minds and with our hands and with our hearts and with our spirits on this planet. How many of you have felt that you learned a deep truth only to find yourself relearning that same truth at another stage of your life? Yeah? Not me. Well, me too. I'm not here to tell you that spiritual embodiment practice will necessarily help you to avoid this, okay? But I can tell you that you stand a better chance of remembering the spiritual truths that you experience firsthand, and that you go out and practice over the ones that we have only taken into our minds. That is step one, you know? But if you take a moment and you feel into that truth, did she get your foot? Just teasing. Is your foot okay? I get so easily distracted. My friend says to me, squirrel, and I yeah, right, so that's me. There's a sound, and I forget my name after that. So, but you take a moment and you feel into a truth, to breathe that in, and that is step two. You know, just take that in. And now, when we take it into the world and for a practice run, you know, we might be sloppy at it, you know, but we're gonna try it out. We're gonna do something with it, and that is step 3. So I wrote here, please note, sometimes you have to do these things for a while. We may not be able to force epiphany, but we can prepare and attune ourselves by walking in alignment with the higher vibration of our truth. So, that is what spiritual embodiment means to us. Our ministry, DevaGnosis, that Dakini mentioned, and that he mentioned, offers ways to embody your spiritual beliefs. At this center, we have 4 events a month. We have our dance elemental. We did one last night in here, in fact. Glory A was there with us. It was so delightful to have you. Where are you, Glory?
Oh, she bounces around.
She's bouncing around right now. Well, she was in here dancing with us and drumming and singing, and we had this room filled with wonderful people. We do that here twice a month. We would really encourage you to come in, and the idea here is we create a sacred space where we don't talk on the dance floor. You just come in and you move how you want to. And if you want to dance just by yourself in your silence, swaying to a song, or if you want to find a partner to dance with and celebrate with, it's all good here with that. It is a sacred way of embodying your spirit. So I encourage you to come out and check that out. And then on Wednesday you mentioned Rhapsody. Rhapsody is something that we do twice a month also, on the first and the third Wednesday. Sorry, Janet. But we're here doing this drumming and chanting and movement, and we really mix it up and have a good time. So I encourage you to come out to that as well. I would like to finish that commercial and talk with you, though. Actually, I want to sing. I'd like to sing a song, and it involves some movement. So let's stand up for a second. And the words are, we are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of the goddess on the earth. All that I am and all that I do are a blessing on the earth. All right. So, it starts out like this, putting your hands on your heart. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of the goddess on the earth. All that I am and all that I do is a blessing on the earth. Let's do it again. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of the goddess on the earth. All that I am and all that I do is a blessing on the earth. All that I am. All that I am and all that I do is a blessing on the earth. Thank you very much. Namaste. Turn the time over to Dakini. Thank you so much. Blessed be you.
I'm really short. It's a physical reality.
It's okay, you get rained on last.
What's that supposed to mean?
You get ready to go first. I just love this laughter. It's wonderful. You guys are all so beautiful. And I'm going to be talking about witnessing and creating a sacred container. Reflection, inner knowing, tapping into that which is unseen. Sounds kind of simple, but sometimes it can feel as though we're far from the center point, that balance. And the illusion of separateness presses into our very sense of self. So I come here today to talk to you about holding space, about creating a sacred container and witnessing as it relates to embodiment practice. DevaGnosis' focus is on direct experiential knowledge of spirit. That means a personal journey, but one that we do not need to take alone. In fact, connection is the best way to facilitate this experience. There's an art to creating a container that is both simple and deeply ingrained in our collective unconscious. Ever since our distant ancestors began circling around life-giving fire, and perhaps even earlier, we've taken our places at the edge of the circle and felt the benefits of sharing the light and warmth and caring. And as we reach back in our minds and feel with our hearts to those primeval times, we can imagine what it was like to depend on our fellow tribespeople. We're not just talking about the practical reasons here, but about the need for companionship and reassurance. The need for love and affection. Not just the romantic kind of love, which is eros, but also the familial, the kind that issues from deep, enduring friendship. love as an awakening to connection, the agape, love thy neighbor as thyself. So let's take a little moment to look into the eyes of the person next to you. So funny that you wanted to do this before, because I'm doing it now. Yeah. So we'll come back to this in, but for now, just connect to that interdependence, that feeling, that tribal feeling. And as you depend on them, they in turn depend on you. It's okay. What you have to give and what you are authentically is exactly enough. Rest in that knowing. Okay. Look back up here. Oh, I love you. That's awesome. So when we hold the rim of the circle, and even when holding space for others, we can tap this feeling of interdependence and co-nourishing. It's an art that can be practiced and refined over time, but the core intention is as simple as that. So part of creating a container or creating space is the act of participating in agreements and saying yes to community. And as we do, and what we do, what do we need to have in place to say yes? What do we need in place to say yes? Safety.
Yes.
So the agreements are in place for the safety of all and to help facilitate authentic expression. So the yes is there to give everyone permission to dive deep into their own pathwork without fear of judgment. The yes is how we gradually show our acceptance of, and gracefully as well, show acceptance of another person's whole self. Bringing that whole self we're seeing. There are also what we would call healthy boundaries. And as everyone who participates in the DevaGnosis activities knows, it is they are trusted to manage this on their own. And we encourage people to stretch themselves outside their comfort zones because that is how growth happens, right? Yeah. But it is important not to push others past the breaking point. So when holding space on the rim, it is important to check in and have an awareness of self. Awareness of self when it comes to boundaries and challenges. Compassionate listening and speaking your truth are key. And when everyone agrees to step up and participate in this way, the container is held with strength and flexibility. And it is, we are able to hold our whole authentic selves in a way that serves not only the intention at the center of the circle, but also the intentions of the individuals who serve it. I can even hold it steady with a wobble or two, because nobody's perfect, right? Except for me. Right. So witnessing is another specific way we endeavor to hold sacred space for each other. For me, I feel it's a big step up in our growth when we are able to step out of our own creative flow to take the time to support others in theirs. The teacher becomes the student. Witnessing and encouraging another individual is a special gift that can take practice to do well, but it is well worth the time and energy. I'd like to try a little exercise again if you're willing. So just close your eyes, go within, place a hand on your heart, take a nice breath. Take a moment to recall the last time you received positive feedback from another person. It could be verbal or non-verbal, like a nod, a smile, or even a literal pat on the back. Do you remember how your heart felt in that moment? What would it be like to hold enough yes space in your heart to make the positive witnessing outweigh any negative judgments? Can you imagine that? The act of witnessing can be made apparent by sincere compliments and empathetic language, but it can also sometimes be even more powerful when done through body language and non-verbally, just being there and paying attention. You don't have to be an expert, just another human being like the rest of us, finding beauty in the moment and in each other. So are you ready to hold sacred space for others? You're probably already doing it. All it took is to be open and to being seen and witnessed. All it takes is a big yes and participation and a willingness to be vulnerable sometimes while showing up in strength. All it takes is to hear the call and to answer it. So we can open our eyes if you haven't already. Take another few moments to gaze and reflect. Go ahead and take a gander at another lovely person near you. Different person if you can than the last time.
Mix it up.
Mix it up.
Find somebody new.
Good. As you look into their eyes, as you gaze into their eyes, imagine a flame reflected there. The flame of a central fire. One that gives light and life to the tribe. With trust in spirit, knowing that you are safe, take that flame into your heart. Now imagine that the flame reflected in their eyes is from your heart. And they are reflecting your heart shine in their eyes as you in turn reflect theirs. It's all one light. We are all one light. I'd like to share a little song with you to embody this moment. And the words are very simple, just a couple of lines. The first line is, you are the light in my eyes. Sing that 3 times, and we say, shine on, shine on. You are the love in my heart, 3 times. Shine on, shine on. Tim will start us off.
Okay, good. You are the light in my eyes.
Yes.
You are the light in my eyes. You are the light in my eyes. You are the light in my eyes. Shine on, shine on. You are the love. You are the love in my heart. You are the love in my heart. You are the love in my heart. Shine on, shine on. You are the light. You are the light in my eyes. You are the light in my eyes. You are the light in my eyes. Shine on, shine on. You are the love in my heart. You are the love in my heart. You are the love in my heart. Shine on, shine on, shine on, shine on, shine on, shine on, shine on. Thank you very much, everybody.
Oh, thank you.
Dakini. Now, with dance, and you spoke about dance beautifully, but it would be nice maybe if you could share a little bit.
Oh, of dance?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Ronnie, can you give her a
Strike
beat?
up the band.
Just like catching while he's munching on something.
For sure. If you like.
Yeah, just a little something, something.
Okay, sure. I will dance.
Just because of the fact that, I mean, I've known Dakini since her hair was way longer. And it is just amazing watching her move because it's not about dancing, it's about being dance. And, you know, maybe this is like a little preview, but I really appreciate the fact that, you know, I can get you to do that.
Oh.
I'm in charge for a
I am in
while.
service.
I got one more week to be in charge, so.
She's done
Then
very
I'll
well.
happily turn it back over to mine.
Okay, you hear that, Donnie?
I'll dance some ballads. We'll dance some ballads.
Thank you so much.